Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Mr. Satan figure, which is one that I was very excited for. I'm not the biggest fan of the character, but I definitely appreciate it, and it looked like a really good figure when they first showed it off, and I'm happy to tell you that most of it turned out really good. There are a couple of things that are rather disappointing, but all in all, there's a lot to like. Well, you know what? I'll save my verdict for the end, as I should anyway. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 15 centimeters to the top of his hair, probably a little bit over, and that puts him at just under 6 inches, pretty close to that. And I will have photos at the end to compare his size to the other characters, so make sure you stick around for that. Now, as far as aesthetics go on this guy, the sculpt is pretty good overall. I really like the head. I think they nailed it. It's one of the more accurate head sculpts that we've seen from them. We often lose a little bit of the characterization when we go from 2D to 3D. For example, Vegeta never has quite as angular a head as he should. This looks pretty darn good. I think they nailed it for the most part, so that's nice. The clothes, pretty good. I like the wrinkles throughout. It's nice. The shoes look good. The belt looks good. The face is, like I said, really good. We have a bunch of different accessories. We'll talk about that later, but all in all, the aesthetics are pretty nice. I think there's some shading on the purple, but it's so subtle that I can't say for sure that it's actually there. It could just be shadows, but either way, it looks okay. There is some shading on the white for the pants, and the boots are painted pretty nicely, though there's no real detail work there. It's just the white and the black. Not too bad though. I will point out that the skin on the chest is painted as it is on the lower part of the torso, and they don't quite match. The lower part is a little bit more dull, which is kind of a bummer. I'd rather they match, but they don't. The one other thing I want to point out about the aesthetics, the knee joint. It's not the worst thing ever, and you can see down here the bottom half of the cut kind of follows the curve of the wrinkle, which is nice. It's almost invisible because of that, but this top part, it's definitely an eyesore. I don't know why they did it that way. It's very obviously just ugly. I mean, I'm used to seeing Articulation. It's an action figure, I get it, but the way they did it is not the most appealing. I don't know why they didn't just follow that little curve that's right under it. They could have definitely hidden that a whole lot better, but we'll talk about that more when we get to the Articulation. As far as the aesthetics go, I'm gonna give this guy, I'm gonna give him a 7 out of 10. That knee joint just really stands out, and the different colors for the chest stand out a little bit too much for me as well. Okay, as far as the accessories go, we kind of have a lot. We do have his cape, which you already saw in the beginning of the video. It's one solid piece that pegs into his back. It does have shading on it, so that's pretty nice. And you get a little tab that hides the hole where the cape pegs into, so that's good. We have 3 different belts. We have the belt with the little demon thingy on there. We have the belt with the little bird logo. And then we have just his karate belt, and the karate belt does have a peg for the knot, so that's pretty cool. We have, well, let's go ahead and say we have the dog. I was gonna save it for last, but it'll go now. We have the dog, pretty nicely done, that's okay. We have a bunch of different hands. We have the 2 fist hands that come on in the package, 1 thumbs up hand, 1 finger hand, 1 set of victory or peace hands, and then 1 set of grappling or open hands. And then we have 4 different faces. We have the standard neutral face, we have one where his eyes are bugging out, one where he's yelling looking straight ahead, and then one where he's yelling looking straight ahead but doing the thing with his eyebrow that The Rock used to do. And that's a lot of accessories, so I'm very happy about that. So accessory wise, this guy gets let's say a 9 out of 10. The only thing that would have been better is to include a display stand. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. So we'll go ahead and pop the head off so you can see. The neck is on a ball peg, and that's how you get the cape on. You pull the whole thing off, and then I'll put that back on and pull the face off so you can see what we have above that. We have a little ball hinge with a ball peg, which is a pain in the ass. It doesn't need to be there. It's so encumbered by the sculpt that it's really a hassle to turn it around, to go sideways with it. In order to use it effectively, it's a hassle. I don't know why they don't just use a ball peg, but they don't, and that's starting to drive me nuts. For the shoulder joint, we do have a butterfly in here. Unfortunately, you can probably already tell, it's really, really recessed. So when you try to bring the arm out, it doesn't really accomplish much. And the best way to show this is to put the arm forward. You can see the arm is forward right now, and then when I use the butterfly joint to bring it more forward, I can't bring it across his chest. It just brings it more forward, which is okay for posing, I guess, but it doesn't allow what a butterfly joint is intended to allow. So that's a problem for me. I don't know why they recessed it so far into the torso. As soon as I let the cats back in the videos, they become a problem. You guys kept complaining about not having cats, so now we have cats, and this is what I have to deal with now. I don't know. I might go back to not having the cats in the videos again. I really don't appreciate it. So outside of the butterfly joint, the arm obviously connects to that on a ball peg, and then we have our standard ball hinge shoulder, which works really nicely, better than horizontal, of course, full rotation. We do have a full-on bicep swivel right there, which is really good. We have a double jointed elbow, which looks good, but sucks. It doesn't even go 90 degrees, and there's no reason for that other than aesthetics, but they could have easily just pushed that joint gap up a little bit farther and given us better range. That's very minimal range for an SH Figuarts figure. You can't even put him in like a fighting pose because of it. It's really limited, and that's a bummer. Total bummer. For the wrists, little tiny ball hinge. That's pretty much standard. For the diaphragm joint, I believe it's a ball peg and a hinge combo because you can stretch it up a little bit to help him lean forward. It doesn't help all that much. It's still relatively limited, and you can lean him without doing that, so I'm not quite sure why they have that going on. But side to side is pretty limited. Leaning back is pretty much not at all, and like I said, forward is not all that much anyway. For the lower torso, we have a ball peg, which rotates around just fine. The belts are obviously floaty. Leaning does work a little bit better down there, so that's good. Forward and back is still very limited. Really limited. And that's it for that. So then we have the skirt piece, which is all one piece, which is unusual. Usually we have a split in there so you can pose him better, and you can still get his legs out fairly far, but not far enough. Like, he's not going to be able to do any kicks or anything really, because you can't even get it like a 90-degree angle out of him. So that's very limiting. I don't know why they did that with the skirt. And it's also limiting going forward. You couldn't even put him in a running pose really because you can't bring his leg very far forward. It's kind of weird that they did that. You do get a thigh swivel out of it. And then here's the knee joint, which is not the worst we've seen. It's not even close to the worst we've seen, but I don't know why they sculpted the knee this way at the top. At the bottom, it's okay because it looks like a wrinkle, but at the top, it's just unnecessarily ugly. Again, don't get me wrong, it's still better than most, but there's no reason for it to even be like this. They could have done so much better. And even still, even if they had that cut there, there's no need to have it down here. You could just have this sculpted through, and then it tucks under. And if this was sculpted a little bit on top, it'd look perfect. I don't know why they don't do that, but they don't do that. And then for the ankle, we have a double ball peg ankle, which is not bad. You do get a little bit ankle rocker out of it. It takes a little bit of force, but you can do it, so that's nice. And then tilting the foot forward doesn't really do much at all. Still, I'm getting tired of that. Tilting the foot back is okay, and then we have a toe hinge, which is decent. So this guy's weakest thing is the articulation. It looks really good overall, but having the very limited elbows, the fairly limited torso, and the fairly limited hips and ankles, this guy's not going to be in very many poses. You're going to be able to do his comical poses, which is fine, but if you wanted to pose him actually fighting, you're not going to be able to accomplish very much, and that's why it's a bummer. The articulation on this guy only gets 6 out of 10. No, for an SH Figuarts, you should have way better range in the elbows, hips, ankles, torso. A lot of places are screwed up here, so that's definitely a bummer. Alright guys, time for the final verdict on this guy. There's a lot to like about it. There's a decent amount to be upset about, so, I am going to give him, because his posing isn't as important as one of the true fighters. What is the cat doing? Since he's not one of the true fighters, I'm going to allow the articulation to be less good than normal in terms of my weighting. And I'm going to weight the aesthetic a little bit higher than normal because it's going to be more important for him. So this guy's going to average out to, I'm going to say 7 out of 10. It's not bad by any means. It's better than average, but it's not especially impressive. So I do recommend it, but you need to know of those issues because being able to pose it in figure like this is kind of important. And he's going to be a little bit difficult to do that with. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, well, go ahead and give it a thumbs up anyway. And you might want to subscribe because I do have new videos up just about every single day. And I've got thousands of other videos on the channel for you to check out. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.